So today's episode of Catch20Too, where we're going through understanding your pain, we're going to start with the question, is pain good? You know, we have all experienced it, and I think we are trying to get to a place where, you know, is there a path we can find to pain-free movement? That's the path that I'm on. And what we've discussed in the first couple of videos is function is the pathway out of pain, because we're going to have a buffer where we don't understand what's going on for a period of time, and then pain is just a signal that says something is off. And if the pain continues to increase, we can tell that there's a lot of reasons why we might want to find a different path. So we have to figure out what is off and what can we do about it. And the way I make it make sense to myself, being a practitioner for 19 years this year, but also, you know, being in my body and having to deal with recovery from injury for my whole life, it comes down to this is honoring systems. So when systems are running well, we enjoy life. That's the design. All the systems were designed amazingly. And it's just, we have a world where we are on constant alert, because this red arrow that I call the river. The river runs. And it runs in a certain direction. And it's not even that the direction the river runs is bad. It's like gravity. We can only fly planes off the ground because we have gravity. We have stress, and stress in life is necessary. But there's two different kinds of stress. There's eustress and there's distress. So this is the use it or lose it. We understand things like, in my family, we like cars, and cars do really well when they're used properly, when you honor all the systems. We race cars, so we're putting a lot of stress on things, and sometimes that's distress. But if you want a car to fall apart, go park it in a perfect garage and just let it sit. Because cars are designed for people to drive them. And if you don't drive them, there's a lot of systems that are going to deteriorate, and you're going to have pain, just like we have pain. Now, when we look at honoring these systems, we're not pre-programmed with understanding the rules. And, you know, I went to grade school and high school and trade school, and I've been on this planet for 50 years, and I've been paying attention for a good portion of that time. And I had to go seek and find these things in strange places, we'll put it that way. It wasn't out in the open. I had to do some research. But once you start learning what the systems, like the musculoskeletal system, what the brain and the brainstem's system is when you're dealing with trauma, what is the neuromuscular system like? What is the emotional body like? What is the mental system like? All these systems are designed, and this is why, for me, when I say I've been doing this for 19 years, it baffles me every day, because my personality loves variety. I've never had a job for over a year. Growing up, never had a job. A couple of months, and I'm like, I'm moving on. Why? I just like to learn something new. And when you start studying the body and these systems, there's always something new. And when you start learning the rules of the system, like one of the first things that I learned when I started taking muscle phasing and learning the anatomy, learning about posture, alignment for structure, was I learned that when you are standing up, And you have your head and your shoulders and your hips and your knees and your ankles. And these should all line up. To stand up takes 93% of the energy that I'm using right now is just to keep me upright. That was baffling to me. I'm like, what? Now, just think of it like this. If I'm lined up where my ear hole and my shoulders line up with my hips and my knees and my ankles, I can almost float. But what happens if I do this? We're using more, and we're using more. And what if it gets so bad that you're holding on to... Now, we could be using so much energy because we're out of alignment just to keep ourselves upright, and we could use that energy to heal or to be creative or to enjoy life. So until I knew that, I didn't know, A, that we're supposed to be lined up this way, and B, how to get myself in alignment. And the river's running, and it's not like any of these positions are bad, but the way the river runs is to get you out of alignment. It creates imbalances. And if we don't know we're out of balance, things are going to be harder. We're going to use up energy. We're not going to recover well. And that's going to compound itself until we get some pain signal that says, pay attention. We're on the rumble strips of life. There's a ditch on that side of the road. You need to learn something new so that you can make some adjustments. We don't have to feel bad about making adjustments. It's part of life every day. Having a new day is a new thing to learn. Now, one of the other things that I learned that I want to talk about today is getting weary and well-doing. What does improvement look like? So improvement, let's say that we take on something good. So when I started finding muscle work and body work to pull trauma out of my system, to help me get lined up, to start getting some of the overwhelm out of my nervous system so I could start healing and move more pain-free. Whenever we find something good, we hope that this happens. I start here and I go up, 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 up to where I want to be. And it happens as close to immediately as possible. And then I stay there forever. I call this the magic pill myth. Everybody's looking for that one thing. What's the one thing that I can do that's going to change my life forever? And I just have to pop a pill. It doesn't require much change on my part. And I just keep searching for that magical thing. I try this thing for 10 days to 14 days. And then it doesn't work. Or you go up in the beginning because we're on the wrong road. And then we come down like this. This is usually how the magic pill ends. Down here where we're worse than where we started. Okay? Now, all kinds of things in the world to get out of pain are going to fall into this category. Here's the one thing, the super thing. And there's lots of good things out there. But what I've discovered is that change looks like this. There's going to be a time where you go up. There's going to be a time where you hold steady and it seems like nothing is happening. And there's going to be a time where it feels like you're going backwards. And after the going backwards is usually where an even bigger jump comes from. And then rinse and repeat. So, in life, you will encounter all these three phases of change. If you decide to do an exercise you haven't done, depending on the condition of your tissue. If your condition of your tissue is good, you might get a bump right away. And then you need to prove to your nervous system consistency. John did it again. He did it for a week. Is he going to do it next week? Is he going to do it the next day? You start proving consistency. You start getting some density of tissue, lots of blood flow, lots of recovery. It's like going out as an army. You advance in enemy territory. You don't want to go too far before you stop and set up shop and wait for resources to catch up to you, and then you go into the next battle and onward and upward. So in here, we're proving consistency, we're getting stability, and now we have some new strength. And the body has some confidence from all of this structure that we built up from our consistency, and says, well, now would be a great time to deal with some weak links, or if we're drinking water, now's a great time to detoxify, or if we're starting exercise, now's the time to clean out some lactic acid or things that have been in our system for a long period of time, and now we feel worse for a moment. And while we feel worse, we think we're off track, because we believe if we were on track, it would go like that. And it doesn't. Usually things that work well go like this. Sad face at the beginning. Kind of okay in the middle. Big smiley face at the end. This is what lasting change looks like. This looks like this. Big smile at the beginning. Tears and big frown at the end. So when you understand all these are going to happen, then we don't get weary in well doing, and we're on a pace. So one of the reasons that coaching people for over 20 years on change. I've been coaching people on positive change since 1995, so now we're at 30 years. We are impatient as a society, and we don't understand the systems and honoring the systems. I remember it was probably around 15 years ago. So I was practicing for 4 or 5 years. I had a young lady who had chronic headaches, migraines, headaches, where she said that over the last decade, she can't remember a day where she hasn't had a headache. And she's like in her mid-20s. And I'm like, ooh. So she comes into my office. She was referred to me by a coworker that had neck pain that led to headaches. And we worked with her, got some trauma out of her body, got some posture into her neck, and her headaches went away. And she's like, well, I saw this guy. So the lady comes to me and we're working on her neck and we're releasing things and I'm following things around, and we get to her forehead where if you get headaches that come through, I ask, do your headaches start in the back? Do they start on the side, or do they start in the front? And hers started in the front. So we're working with her eyebrows and the muscles to move her eyes up and down, and found a dead spot. Like along the brow, this side could lift up and this side could lift up here, but it wouldn't lift up here. So I go up into her hairline and I find this scar. And I go, okay, well, what happened here? Oh, yeah, what, about 10 years ago or 11 years ago, I was riding my bike and the chain fell off and I went over my handlebars and I landed on my head and, you know, I had this scar. And I said, well, about when did you start having headaches? It was like 6 or 9 months later. Now, when you're 10, 11, 12, 6 to 9 months is like another world. You know, when I'm a teenager, it's like I had a girlfriend and we were dating forever. We were dating for 3 weeks, but 3 weeks was forever. So she wasn't relating any of that to why she was having headaches now. And the reason I tell the story is not because we relieved the headache. It was the next time she came to see me. I said, how did it go? And she's like, I went 5 days without a headache for the first time in like a decade. And I'm like, fantastic. And then she said, but what did you do to my knee? It's killing me. And I thought to myself, I worked on your neck and your head for an hour. I didn't touch another part of your body. So I said to myself, what happened? Well, this is where I created what I call the front burner syndrome. So we blame time for a lot of things. And I say that time is just an accumulator. We can accumulate deposits and get a bigger account. Or we can accumulate negative things and get a smaller account. But time doesn't choose big or small, we do. Time just accumulates. So, when the young lady came in, she had a big problem, headaches. Let's say that was an 8. So if this is your stovetop, and you have 4 burners on your stove, some of the stoves have a bigger burner as the main burner. So when we walk around, now, here's the other part that I noticed. 93% of our energy is holding us upright. 94% of our pain is hidden. We are only aware of 6% of our pain. So everybody that walks into my office has their main thing. This is what's killing me. This is what's on my mind all the time. But they got some side dishes. Like, well, if you got time, I got this here and this here and that there. So, person comes into the office, headache, 8, main burner. Now, what happens if the headache goes to a 3? Is it gone? No, but 3 might be manageable for doing everything that you want to do. So it's not gone. It just goes back here. Headache. And now here was this guy. Knee. Her knee was bothering her, but it was only a 6. And her head was an 8 and yelling. So when we take the headache that's been there for 10 years and we put that away, the body goes, I'm out of pain. We're only aware of 6% of our pain with our conscious mind. It goes, well, new front burner candidate called knee pain. Now, did I cause the knee pain? No. Did I cause the headache? No. all of the intensity that somebody walks in with, they walked in with it. I can help them become aware because I know where a lot of this 94% hides. It's in the tendons and in the ligaments. These are on a ton of stress. When you close your eyes, you still know how to touch your nose with your finger because your body uses the amount of tension that is on your ligaments and your tendons to know where you are in space. All of our movement when we do roll call is through our reflex system because we don't have time to think about it. That reflex system uses tendons and ligaments to communicate. If you have to give a lot of information, we're going to have a lot of nerves. But what we don't have is a lot of blood flow. So when we have issues with our tendons and our ligaments, they're very slow to heal. How slow? In 8 days, we can get new muscle growth. It's easy to build muscle. It takes 8 weeks to get growth out of your tendons. So there's a lot of people that'll go work out and they're doing these things to get in shape. And guess what they get for their hard work? Pain. Why? Well, they're growing some new muscle, and that new muscle puts some strain on their tendons that wasn't there before, and their tendons didn't get any stronger. So they're saying, slow down. We're on the wrong road. Is it good to build muscle? Yes. But we don't want to outpace this. This is why we have pain. Our muscles very rarely hurt. Our tendons and our ligaments hurt all the time. And if you ever wonder if you have any hidden pain, I can go walk into your tendons and your ligaments and just go boop, and you'll figure out, oh my goodness, I didn't know that hurt like that. Because we're missing 94% of our pain. Now, I believe we're always going to have these things because there's always more to know on our systems. That's why we get a lifetime to try to figure this stuff out. The goal is not to say I'm at pain free. The goal is not to have this pain hidden. If we can have this pain go from hidden to known, then we can affect it. It's hard to pay bills that you don't know you have. Now, what we want is we want to have some new things show themselves on this burner. And the way we do this is we start going this way with resources that we learn from honoring systems. The way I work out is different because I know this. My goal is to build these and let this happen afterwards. I'm trying to get my tendon strength and my ligament strength on par with the muscle I already have, and then I might build more muscle. I've already gone the build more muscle route, and that just made this stuff worse. And that's why people aren't recovering from injuries. So if you want to know what your hidden stuff looks like, the way to find it is through what I call a map. Muscular activation profile. We just ask your body to do what it was designed to do, and we find out who shows up and who doesn't show up as far as muscles, tendons, and ligaments are concerned. And then we start formulating what I call muscle phasing. In a nutshell, is an apology your body accepts. We need to say we're sorry. I have one universal plan for saying I'm sorry. Forgive us, for we know not what we're doing. I didn't try to break myself. I just didn't know. And now that I know, I don't have to feel bad about the fact that I didn't know, because we're never going to start out knowing it all. But thank God, God gave us pain to get us to focus on saying, okay, there's obviously something I don't know. And the world wants to sell us that age is the reason all of this has to break down prematurely. And if we do nothing, that's true. But if we want to push back and say, you know what, I want to enjoy being in my body. I want to be able to get better at something. I like going uphill. I don't like going down. I know I'm going to look older. I know that I'm accumulating. I know I'm not going to win all these battles, but I'm going to win some of them. And my plan is to win enough of them so that I can enjoy life at the level that I would like to. So hopefully this has been helpful. We're going to continue with the series called Understanding Your Pain and Your Path to Pain-Free Movement. And onward and upward until the next time.